När trollmor har lagt sina 11 små troll.
The giants came from Ginnungagap, a magical and creative, power-filled space. They were closely intertwined to both Aesir gods and Vanir gods, both wise as well as magically and technologically advanced. The Vanir originated from Vanaheimr, Vanaland, which is Värmland in Sweden. The Aesir was, according to Snorri, Asiamenn, meaning these gods came from Asia. Thor is, for instance, said to come from Troy, Turkey. Hey you, perfect soul. I am Sophia, PhD, sociology and author within self-help, spirituality, fantasy action and sociology. I grew up in southern Sweden in Småland, lands of small, which was already populated at least 8000 BCE. This land of the small were thriving during Viking Age and rebelled against kings and the church when they, during the Dark Middle Ages, tried to take control. Småland is abundant of magical forests, and there are many legends about supernatural beings and human encounters, many of which were told to me by my loving and wise grandmother. This rich collection of Scandinavian folklore, I believe, origins from real-life experiences in ancient times, when giants that we meet both in Sumerian tablets and biblical texts migrated from south up to the north. Scandinavia and Sweden in particular was populated around the time of Younger Dryas. That is the time when a cataclysmic event probably happened. Sweden was actually populated both from the south and from the north, but in different times and by different people. As the ice sheet began to retreat, southern Sweden became habitable around 12,500 to 11,500 BCE by late Paleolithic hunter-gatherers who followed animals from northern Germany and Denmark. Some thousands years later, around 10,500 to 9,500 BCE, Mesolithic people moved northward through central Sweden. And even later, around 9,500 to 8,000 BCE, people moved into northern Sweden from the northeast, from even Eurasia and northern Russia, which were a sea-based culture called Komsa, of which Sami is culture heirs. These three groups eventually mixed and became Mesolithic Swedes, and they carried with them stories of magic-skilled and shape-shifting giants. There are several parallels between Jötnar, Nephilim and Anunnaki. They were all divine or semi-divine. They all possessed hidden knowledge concerning craft, law, and metal working. All three are also connected with the force of breath or the fire and power of wind. They were all associated with both mountains and subterranean realms. The Anunna and the Anunnaki are in the Sumerian tablets and Akkadian texts described as a class of gods and as an offspring of An, the sky god. They function as cosmic administrators, judges, and rulers of destiny. They are radiant and shining and symbolically implied, although not anatomically described, a physical gigantism. Humans are created as labor substitutes. They feed gods, maintain temples, and perform work. The Nephilim, the fallen ones, and the giants in the Bible are described as hybrid beings and as mighty warriors. They are not creators, but they are offspring from the gods. They are described as extremely tall, where human beings seemed like grasshoppers next to them. Human are sexual partners in a clear boundary violation, since several women are tricked. Humans also works for the Nephilim. All three groups of creatures, Anunnaki, Nephilim, and Jötnar or troll, makes a somewhat mysterious exit. Anunnaki simply seem to withdraw between realms of heaven, earth, and underworld and reassign power. The Nephilim are destroyed since the flood wipes most of them out, but according to Enoch, some of them descended down to the earth. The Norse giants also disappeared due to Christianity and are said to dwell in Vanaheimr, but they can travel freely across worlds. All three groups also have CEOs. Enki and Enlil were overseers of humanity. Yahweh in the Bible was God of law and covenant. Thor and Odin in Norse myth had the role of gods of wisdom, law, and kingship. They were all characterized as stern and law-oriented. In all three mythologies, there is a catastrophe. In Sumerian and biblical words, a flood, and in Norse words, Ragnarök. In Mesopotamia, the humans multiply too much and disturb the gods with their noise. After the flood, there is a reset, since the gods regrets their action. In the Bible, Yahweh regrets his creations due to their noise, but also due to the Nephilim and their corruption and moral collapse. There is also a reset with a regretful God who later established a covenant. In Norse myth, the Ragnarök is the last days of the gods, caused by a breakdown of oaths, moral decay, and cosmic imbalance. Fate unfolds through destruction and rebirth. In all three mythologies, gold is of vital importance, which I will talk more about in coming video. Bye for now.